Welcome to Tech Disruptions, deep dives into the technologies reshaping industries, from AI to quantum to biotech. Let's get into it.
Imagine an AI that genuinely believes it's 1930. It doesn't know about World War II, the moon landing, or even the internet. It can't tell you about iPhones or the latest political scandal. And this isn't a bug, it's a deliberate feature.
Precisely. This model, called Talkie 1930, is a 13 billion parameter language model specifically trained only on texts published before 1931. It's a stark departure from the scrape the entire internet approach we typically see, and it's driven by some very practical, very modern problems in AI development.
So it's not a historical curiosity project just for the sake of it then. There's a real pressing reason to effectively freeze an AI in time?
Absolutely. The researchers behind Talkie 1930 highlight two primary motivators. First, they call it escaping internet sludge. The quality of modern internet data is rapidly deteriorating. Second, and perhaps even more significant for the industry, they're trying to circumvent the copyright trap that ensnares most large language models.
Internet sludge is a pretty vivid term. What exactly are they describing there, and how does going back a century solve it?
The argument is that the vast amounts of data scraped from the contemporary internet for training AI models are increasingly low quality. Think about it: misinformation, redundant content, poorly written articles, social media posts, and even content already generated by other AI models. It's a feedback loop of diminishing quality. The researchers suggest that, by contrast, historical texts, books, newspapers, journals from before 1931, even with their own biases, often represent a more curated, considered, and editorially higher standard of language and knowledge.
So it's a quality control mechanism. Instead of the digital equivalent of a landfill, they're sifting through an antique library.
That's a good analogy. They're effectively saying that newer isn't always better when it comes to training data. They focused on collecting 2.5 trillion tokens of pre-1931 English text, meticulously cleaning it, removing OCR errors, boilerplate, and low-quality scans. This isn't just old data, it's curated old data. The result is a model that, while limited in scope, is grounded in a consistent, relatively high-quality textual environment from a specific era.
And that leads directly into the second problem you mentioned, the copyright trap. This is a huge, ongoing legal battle for every major AI developer. How does an AI from 1930 sidestep that?
It's remarkably straightforward. In many jurisdictions, including the US, works published before 1929 are firmly in the public domain. While the project specifies pre-1931, the core principle holds. The vast majority of that material is free from modern copyright restrictions. This means the researchers can train and deploy this model without facing the barrage of lawsuits related to intellectual property infringement that other LLMs trained on contemporary copyrighted works are currently experiencing.
So it's a legal hack, essentially. Instead of battling it out in court over fair use or licensing, they just use material that's explicitly free to use. This has massive implications, doesn't it, for how AI models might be developed commercially in the future?
It does. It suggests that one path to legally compliant and commercially viable AI might be through meticulously curated public domain datasets or even highly specialized licensed historical archives. It forces a reevaluation of the "more data is always better" mantra, pushing for cleaner, legally unencumbered data, even if it means sacrificing some recency or breadth. For a sector constantly grappling with legal uncertainty, a model like Talkie 1930 offers a tantalizingly clean slate.
Okay, so it's built on clean data and legally sound data. But what does it actually mean for an AI to be frozen in 1930? Does it just make up things about the past, or is it truly constrained by that worldview?
It's genuinely constrained. The model has absolutely no knowledge of events, technologies, or cultural shifts that occurred after 1930. Ask it about World War II, the Cold War, space travel, or the internet, and it will draw a blank or try to interpret those concepts through a 1930s lens. For instance, if you asked it about a computer, it might describe an elaborate mechanical calculator or a concept of a calculating machine, but it wouldn't understand silicon chips or software.
So it's like talking to a well-read time traveler from 1930. It knows everything up to that point, but nothing beyond.
Exactly. Its language, its understanding of societal norms, its scientific knowledge, it's all aligned with that period. It can generate text that sounds authentic to the 1930s, provide historical context for events leading up to that year, and even capture the slang and idioms of the era. This makes it a valuable tool for historical research, creative writing set in the period, or even simulating historical dialogues.
That brings up an interesting point: bias. Modern LLMs are constantly critiqued for inheriting and sometimes amplifying biases from their training data. Does Talkie 1930 also have biases? And if so, is that considered a bug or a feature for this specific project?
It absolutely has biases, and in this specific context, it's considered a feature. The researchers aren't trying to create an unbiased AI. They're trying to create an AI that accurately reflects the worldview, including the prejudices and societal norms of the 1930s. This makes it a powerful research tool for understanding historical perspectives, rather than a general-purpose AI intended to be fair by modern standards. For example, its understanding of race, gender, or geopolitics would inherently reflect the prevailing attitudes of that time.
So it's not about making a better or less biased AI in the universal sense, but about creating a historically authentic lens. Is one of the research goals to see how it handles generalization, meaning how it tries to make sense of things outside its temporal bubble?
That's a critical part of the research. They're exploring how a model with such a confined worldview attempts to reason about or generalize to modern concepts. Can it extrapolate from its knowledge base in a meaningful way? For example, if asked about space travel, it might talk about rockets and scientific dreams, but without any knowledge of actual space missions. This allows researchers to study the limits of generalization and the impact of data scope on an AI's conceptual framework.
This project feels like a significant proof of concept, showing that there are alternatives to the standard LLM training paradigm. What are the broader implications for AI development beyond just historical research?
The implications are significant for several reasons. First, it underscores the growing concern about data quality and the recognition that blindly scaling up internet-scraped data isn't a sustainable or even desirable path forward. It suggests a future where specialized, highly curated datasets might be crucial for niche AI applications. Second, it presents a clear strategy for addressing copyright issues, which are only intensifying. For companies looking to build legally sound AI products, this approach offers a model for using public domain or carefully licensed data.
So instead of one massive, all-knowing but legally contentious and data quality compromised AI, we might see an ecosystem of more focused, specialized AIs, each with its own carefully constructed data diet.
Precisely. Talkie 1930 demonstrates that you can achieve high-quality, coherent reasoning within a defined domain, even if that domain is historically limited. It challenges the idea that general intelligence requires an indiscriminately vast and messy dataset. The future of AI might involve more strategic data curation, where the quality, legality, and specificity of the data are prioritized over sheer volume.
This project makes you rethink what intelligence in an AI can even mean. It's not just about knowing everything, but knowing a specific something very well.
It's a powerful reminder that an AI's worldview is entirely shaped by its training data. By deliberately narrowing that world to 1930, the researchers have given us a clear case study of how data choices define an AI's capabilities, limitations, and even its inherent biases. It's a conversation starter about the foundational principles of AI development.
This whole conversation really highlights a few key takeaways. First, the internet sludge problem is very real, and AI developers are actively seeking ways around it, even if it means sacrificing recency.
And second, copyright law isn't just a nuisance. It's a fundamental constraint shaping the entire field, pushing developers towards innovative data acquisition strategies, like leveraging the public domain.
And finally, specialized historically contextual AIs like Talkie 1930 aren't just novelties. They offer valuable insights into AI reasoning, generalization, and how bias is embedded in data, serving as crucial research tools.
It makes one wonder, what other frozen-in-time AIs might we see emerge, leveraging different historical or cultural datasets, escaping both the noise and the legal entanglements of the modern web?
And how will developers balance the desire for broad, current knowledge with the necessity of clean, legally compliant training data in the years to come? It's not a simple choice. That's all for this episode of Tech Disruptions. Join us next time as we keep exploring the technologies reshaping our world. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Stay curious out there.